The long
We're
way.
going to get into our Black versus Blue anonym segment. And for Hit or Flop, we're going to keep it NBA related. The NBA Awards show was last night, where they recognized the regular season accomplishments. The awards show was originally criticized for being too far after the regular season, which ended in April. It's now late June. But in my opinion, the show itself turned out to be pretty good. They celebrated Craig Sager, Monty Williams, Bill Russell, who dropped the bar of the year. Drake was a great host. But as far as the awards go, we're going to go through the major ones. We all agreed before the show that we agreed Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond Green deserved it. Sixth man went to Eric Gordon. Russell Westbrook, of course, deserved the MVP. We did have a little discrepancy in terms of the Rookie of the Year. It went to Malcolm Brogdon over Joel Embiid, who only played 31 games. Probably would have won it if he played the whole season, but I believe Omar and Kenyon had a different preference. What did you guys think as far as Rookie of the Year? Who should have gotten it?
A little bit of a flop in that I think Dario Saric should have been Rookie of the Year. I understand Brogdon. He was a key piece when Milwaukee really started to stabilize and then go into the playoff run. But Dario, on a bad Philadelphia 76er team, even with Embiid, was consistent and flew under the radar. And I think his stats kind of bore out the fact that, I think he should have probably been the Rookie of the Year.
I think Brogdon got it because he was on a team that made it to the playoffs. But they both, it could have been in my book. They both balled.
They've done it before.
Yeah. I would have been just as happy with that. But even then, it's still a minor difference. It's like, okay, it was an off year for there was a lot of rookies who people thought were going to be in contention for that.
To your point, Devin, though, about scouting, Malcolm Brogdon, 4-year senior, Rookie of the Year.
Oh, he can play basketball.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
You think they learned him up in college? They learned him up a little
right.
bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So overall, I think that the awards were a hit. But the one flop, I'm not letting this go. I don't care if you guys are on the same page with me. Mike D'Antoni won Coach of the Year.
Who's that? I know a Mike and Tony.
Yeah. I'm with you, Kev. Straight billions. Taylor all day.
Hey. Pronouns are them, their, and they.
Oh my God.
By far, man, I think Brad Stevens deserves that because not only did his team have the best record in the Eastern Conference, nobody expected him to be there. And I think he did more with less. That Rockets team was talented. It was built around James Harden, which D'Antoni had nothing to do with. They simply drive and kick and don't play defense. I could coach that team.
Well, only thing I would say is when you checked with Vegas at the beginning of the NBA season, the Houston Rockets were, I think, predicted to finish like 9th or 10th or 11th in the Western Conference. And for you take Golden State out of the equation, they were the second or third best team in basketball. I think that no one expected them to be as successful as they were. And honestly, you have to give D'Antoni credit for two reasons. Number one, going to James Harden and putting him in a position to succeed. And he had statistically his best season by far. And then second of all, really making the players that they chose, Ryan Anderson, Eric Gordon, who won Sixth Man of the Year, Clint Capella, bringing those players together and creating this stew where they now are actually going into this offseason thinking that they're one piece away from competing with Golden State. They're in on some of the big players.
Where do Vegas have Celtics at, though?
Definitely a playoff team, for sure. Absolutely a playoff team.
Do you think if Brad Stevens was coaching that team, they would have did the same thing this year, or worse or better?
I think they would have been. Honestly, I think they would have been a worse team
because of the players.
Because of the players, absolutely.
But you don't think D'Antoni is a better coach than Stevens, do you?
I do not.
Okay.
But that's not. It's coach. The award was Coach of the Year, and I'm no, absolutely. It's a great situation for D'Antoni. I mean, I love Brad Stevens just like everyone. He's a great coach. I can't wait till he gets some elite pieces.
The problem with D'Antoni is he's going to do this same thing every time because it's going to be, this is what he does, and just like how Harden was dead at the end of the playoffs.
Okay, we'll move on.
Not literally.
Hope or hype. I'm going to kick it to Les on this one. Jordan Spieth's epic win and celebration over the weekend was great, man. It's probably the most excitement we'll ever see in golf, or that they'll allow. But Les, do you think that this is what golf needs for us to finally tune in?
For hope and hype. It's hope because that's what it needs. It needs that excitement that we can't get anywhere else. It's hype because you can never get that consistently in golf. It just can't happen.
I mean, you look at the shot that he won on.
He's not set up that way.
Yeah, that's why he lost his shit. I'd lose my shit too.
First of all, it's too many fat bellies they ain't jumping that high. They're not gonna be that excited.
Hey, he could have hurt somebody throwing that throwing the club though.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hopeful. You know, it was good to see. I haven't been pumped for somebody else like that playing golf in a while. And last but not least, newsworthy and nothing to see here, the Kansas City Chiefs offseason. Pick an angle you want to look at this from. Dev, I'm going to throw it to you. You see, I dressed for the occasion.
I see what you did there, brother. I would like to wholeheartedly thank the organization of the Kansas City Chiefs for releasing Jeremy Maclin so we could go ahead and pick him up. But no, seriously, on a serious note, they fired their GM, John Dorsey. Tamba Ali was not very pleased with that. And I want to read this quote, and maybe just because this is the way that I feel about him, I think it's like a backhanded compliment, but he said, but I'm sure the Hunt family knows exactly what they're doing with re-signing our coach, Andy Reid.
Yikes.
Well, there's rumors out there that it was Reid who helped push him out. So,
Do you think they'll ever give him control like he had in Philadelphia?
isn't this Philadelphia A anyway?
I mean,
he didn't turn him into Philadelphia.
He has turned him into Philadelphia.
I mean, they let go of the salary guru.
Yep.
They move up to draft Mahomes.
2 first-rounders and a third-rounder.
For someone that executes poorly in game management, Andy Reid sure likes a lot of control.
He likes a lot of control. They lost Poe during the offseason. I mean, they had that tough choice to make. Eric Berry.
The director of football operations, Chris Ballard, leaves for the Colts.
Yep.
I think it's newsworthy, brother.
Oh, yeah. It's good for me. It's good for me.
It's where the
Years to
GM,
come.
when the GM got fired too. It was
the same
all
day as the
weird.
extension?
Yeah, it was weird all the way around.
Yep. All right.